Today we are learning to write the letters U, V and W in New South Wales Foundation font. You'll know you've been successful if you've got about half a page of these body letters. You've used the lines to stay a consistent size and shape, and your letters are the same shape as those that you see in this video. Hi everyone! Today for your warm-up, you're going to do some desk push-ups. So move your chair just to the side and pop your hands on the edge of the table, but so all of your hand is touching. Take your feet out behind you and try not to make a mountain by sticking out your bottom. Tuck that bottom underneath so you've got a nice straight line from your shoulders to your toes. No bums out. Tuck in. From there, you're going to let your elbows bend so that they're touching the sides of your body, like that. We don't want them to go out like this. So elbows are going to go in, they're touching the side of my body, and then I push the desk away. And if I turn a little bit, you'll see that I'm not letting my body go saggy. I'm keeping my body as stiff as a board. See if you can do 10. Let's get started with our warm-up shape. Starting in between those two dotted lines. I'm going to go down to make a ditch, come up, do a little loop, and then I go back again, little loop. I'm actually going to make that loop a little bit bigger so you can see what I'm doing with my pen. But when you're doing it, you're most welcome to keep a smaller loop. Now if you need to, you can always lift your hand if it's not sliding along the paper very well. Otherwise, try and keep going in one long looping line all the way to the end of your page. So as we said, today we're looking at letters that use a ditch shape. We're looking at U, V and W. Let's begin with a V. You'll see in that New South Wales Foundation font that it doesn't really come down to a point for this lowercase letter. It's more of a rounded shape at the bottom. Then I can use that same shape to create my U by adding a downstroke, or if I take that one away, I can make a W. So I'm using the same ditch for each of my letters. Let's have another look at that ditch shape. I'll do it next to it. It's not completely symmetrical. So the first line goes down like a normal sloping downstroke, then it curves and comes up on a little bit more of an angle, so the lines aren't parallel. But as long as in your writing you're doing the neatest shape that you can, that's okay. We don't want to see anything that's really wide or anything that's too narrow. Yep, so be careful to keep that shape quite consistent, whether you're doing the letter U or joining them up for a letter W. Let's begin with the letter V. Remembering it's in between those two dotted lines. I start at the top, I head down for my downstroke and up on a little bit of an angle. Downstroke and up. What good practice this is for any of your letters if you are in stage 2 or 3 that join. Down and up. Down and up. Now I can see that with my slippery Apple Pencil on my tablet here that quite a lot of my letters are starting to like hook around that way at the end. You don't need to do that. Go straight up to that top line. Keep going all the way to the end of the row. Once you've finished your letter V's, let's turn it into a W. Funny W, because really in our font it's just two V's next to each other. I don't know why they don't call it double V. But anyway, off we go, joining two together to make a W. Maybe at the end of the video you could do some Googling, see if you can work out why the letter W is called W and not double V. I have some ideas, but I'll see if you can work it out for yourself. Well, now when you get to the end of the row, we're going to use that same shape for the third time to do our letter U. You can see that all I've had to do is a V with a downstroke. So now my two lines, and I'll show you in a second on this one, I'm going to choose a different colour. My two lines should be parallel. So this line here and this line here are parallel. They're running in the same downward sloping direction. So keep going, trying to keep your letters in between the dotted lines all the way to the end. If you are in stage 2 or stage 3, you might like to add that little exit flick at the bottom and a flick. We'll do one more for our older viewers with a flick. Otherwise, keep going to the end of the line. Today we're practicing two words. We're going to write underwater adventures, beginning with that letter U as a body letter, letter N downstroke, up and over, letter D begins with the circle, up to the top and down. Letter E, remember E always begins in the middle, loops around. And the letter R. Straight into a W, around for the A, straight down for the T, E and R. Underwater adventures. Good. I'm just going to pause for a moment to think about the slope I've used. So what I'm looking for is that every downstroke is parallel, following the same line. And I think I've done pretty well there. You can see lots of different downstrokes that I've even missed along the way. Oh, that A is perhaps standing up a little bit tall. But otherwise not too bad. So when I check in with all of those downstrokes, I can see that they are parallel. I want you to try underwater adventures one more time and concentrate on keeping all of your downstrokes parallel, running at the same direction. Pause the video and have a go. Now, if you're going very well with that slope, your letters are all in between the lines, and especially if you are in stage 2 or 3, I'm going to do Underwater Adventures one more time using some exit flicks. So let's start with that letter U, down and flick, and that flick leads me straight into my letter N, and flick into my D, straight up and down for a flick, starting in the middle, up and around. E doesn't need to flick because you can see it already ends that way. And R doesn't flick, it wobbles. Underwater. W has a little kick out the side. A has a flick. T, flick. E and R wobbles. Underwater Adventures. I'm sure you can already see how some of those letters are going to start to join. Straight into my V. V, strange one, has like a little tick off to the side. Into my E. N. T. U. R wobbles. E is plain, and S does not join. Good, so if you check back on your page, you should have your warm-up row, 3 individual letters, and 2 or 3 times you would have written Underwater Adventures. So it's time to take a different coloured pencil once you've done all of that and do some self-correcting. I quite like all of my word adventures there. I think underwater my letters are a little bit too spaced out. There's lots of space in there, but I think I've done a better job on adventures. And maybe a couple of nice W's in there. I'm not as happy with my V's. That last one's okay. But they definitely went a little bit wobbly up here. I'm going to blame my Apple Pencil for that one. Good. I think my warm-up row, this section here, looks really nice. Otherwise, it's a little bit sloppy. Take a moment now to check your own writing and give a tick to the things that you think you did really well. And if you have time, you might try again if there's something you think you can do a little bit better. As always, thank you for watching and thank you for trying your very best handwriting with me. Stay tuned if you have a little bit more time in your literacy time for a guided drawing. We've got 2 drawings to do today because I liked them both and I couldn't decide, so I thought that you might like them too. Remember, you can use a bit more space than just between the dotted lines, up to you, and you may use a coloured pencil as well. Just make sure it's sharp. We're going to start with the letter U. So straight down with that downstroke, up on a bit more of a diagonal, matching downstroke again. And off I go on my underwater adventure. From that bottom line, or where I've finished here, I'm going to draw back up to where I started, and then all I need to do is add an eye and I've got a little fish. Try another one. So letter U goes down, up, straight back down again. I don't even need to lift my pencil, I can cross back up to the top. Then I do need to lift my pencil, of course, to do the eye. A little mouth if you want, and a couple of dots as my bubbles. The second shape I'm going to show you is an umbrella, and it uses 4 V's or 2 W's, however you want to think about it. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, all joined up in a row. From there, I link back over with a curved line to the very beginning, add a little dot in the center and join from the dot to each of the tops of those letters. And wherever you like, pop a letter J underneath to make your umbrella. Yeah, I'm going to try one more time, maybe in a different colour, because that one's very bright. Perhaps that one. V, 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 V. Circle at the top. Little dot. Join, join, join. And a letter J underneath. Try some yourself.